How excited are you for football season?
I am excited. I'm really excited. About a week away from today from reporting. That's kind of the cool thing about Media Day. It's kind of let you know it's the last thing before you really start. So I am. I'm excited. I'm excited about our team and excited to get after it.
What did you learn about your team this summer from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think, and I've said it to you guys a bunch, when you bring in a lot of new high school guys, transfers, and a nucleus of guys sticking around, how are they going to mesh well together? And everything I've seen in the spring and definitely in the summer, I just like our guys, and I think they like each other. I think they like playing together. They compete with each other. They make each other better. We've not won a game yet, but I feel like our guys are in a really good place going into the season.
You're 1 year too. Is there any coaching change that you're trying to implement right now, or is it any difference in trying to accelerate this group that you've now been with for a year?
There's little things here or there that you try to improve on, whether it's game management or the way you maybe practice to keep your team fresh, or you're tweaking little things. There's not a major overhaul. I feel like we did a lot of things well in year one. We lost some close games. We want to find a way to overcome that hump. I think part of that we've addressed just in the off season with hopefully the roster we've built. And I think part of what fall camp is about is really learning your team, and learning, not only at quarterback, but on offense and defense, like what guys do well and how they tick and how they respond. And so that sometimes will dictate how you coach throughout the year as you learn your team, because everyone's got a different personality. Every team has a different personality. So, we felt like we became a finishing football team last year. We can't lose that. But also maybe we can put ourselves in a different position where we're closing out games more, or when we have the opportunity to do what we do, and just overcome the hurdle that we're trying to get over after about 4 decades. So.
Yeah, what is that like to see the poll come out, get picked third, but the expectations are there to have that type of a team?
Yeah, I think it's good that our program's in a position where I think our expectations this year are really, based on the poll, similar. 3rd, 4th, 5th, kind of what it's been the last few years, I think. So we've now got our program to the point where we're winning at a level that people expect us to at least be in contention, and that's good. It's kind of like that guy in the major. You're in contention a lot, but one day you got to break through and win on Sunday. And so we feel like our program has expectations. I don't think they're any different this year than they've been, at least not for us. So we're in contention to start the season. We got to stay that way, and then when we get our opportunity, see if we can find a way to win. And it's going to be hard. There's 14 teams in the league. Trying to be number one is not going to be easy, but we feel like we're in a position to compete for it.
A lot of depth across the board for you guys, specifically at the offensive line. I feel like there could be some intense competition here this fall. How do you envision that competition going?
Yeah.
What's the status of Justin Rosberg's team?
Yeah, I think offensive line is what you mentioned, but I think we've got better depth at just about every position, which is exciting. I think, I got asked about special teams the other day. Well, I think our special teams has a chance to be better because we have better depth on the roster, and that's a lot of times what determines how well you can play on teams. And hopefully on offense and defense and the O-line, we can be fresher. The competition will be good the first couple of weeks of fall camp there like it is everywhere else. Our guys have done a good job embracing that. I think it's what has helped raise everybody's level. But yeah, last year we ended up playing with 6 guys we felt really good about, maybe a 7th, because I think Ben Sparks did some good things. This year, I don't know. I'm hopeful as we go to game 1, we can say we're closer to 8, 9, 10. And, it's probably been a while since SMU's been able to say that. Shoot, we had years at Auburn we couldn't say that we felt like we had more than 6 or 7 guys we could win in our league with. And so I really like where those guys are, and I think they'll make each other better. And then, look, most of the time you have injuries in that position, and so I think that's where the depth could help us.
And J.O., how's he doing?
Sorry, yeah, J.O.'s doing great. Kind of like Tyler Levine. He's had no hiccups. He's on track. He's on pace. Actually, later this week I have the meetings with our training staff to find out, do we need to limit them at all early on? But they're still on track to play first game of the season.
And Tyler, the toughness, obviously, you kind of revealed the guy that's coaching school that you played with. How much of a standard was it that he kind of set for just hey, this guy, overcame the foot thing before he even got here, and now he's playing with a tendon or
we had a lot of tough dudes last year who deserve credit for the 5-2 finish and how we finished. But I think the biggest turnaround was when Tyler gave us stability at running back. And he wasn't running 70-yard touchdown runs and all that, but just the physicalness, the toughness he brought to our offense, to our team was felt and noticeable. And I don't think there's any shock that when that happened, that's why we played better. The last half the season there was a partial tear in his patella. I mean, that dude's that tough, And so every time you're like, man, he's not going to get up, and he did. No, he was really not sure if he was going to get up. And so the procedure went well. He's been awesome. I still expect him to be a pretty strong leader for us this year, and I'm glad he's back.
Can you speak to the support that SMU's donors and just the whole administration, everything, have given you guys over not only your time here, but maybe how you've seen it change since your previous time?
Timing and alignment really matter in college athletics and college football to having a winning program. And I think you've seen in the last 5 years that our administration has, from Dr. Turner on down to Rick Hart to our board and supporters, like you mentioned, they've really invested and made a priority in SMU athletics in general, but in football, and to giving us the things we need to compete at the highest level. And I think that's why you've seen our program slowly creep back with some really good momentum. The players and coaches, we got to do our job, but they are giving us the things we need to compete for a championship and to compete at a high level, and that's all we can ask for. And now it's our turn to try to go do our part.
Preston, even as a backup, was always kind of acting like a starter.
Yeah.
Have you seen a different, maybe from a leadership perspective, than he is, or is it the same?
He's the same Preston, but yeah, I mean, look, when you know it's yours, you kind of just carry yourself differently, right? Than when well, I'm kind of am, but he kind of is, so I don't want to step on toes. And so I think it's been good. The spring and summer, spring was his adjustment period. By summer, you can tell he's had a great summer. He's comfortable. He's himself. He physically looks good. I think he's really embracing the role. I think the guys are embracing him. He started one game. It's different to spot start than to be the guy. And so, look, there's going to be a learning curve, and we got a pretty steep hill out of the gates with our first 4 games. And so, hopefully that learning curve will go fast and the bumps won't be too big along the way. But I expect him to do well and get better as the season goes on.
You've got RJ back at tight end. Mm-hmm. You added Micah. Nolan had a good spring. What does that position look like, and how critical is it for somebody, kind of other than RJ to really
It's a
step
critical
up?
Position for us. RJ's getting bigger. He's put on 20, 30 pounds, which is going to help him. He's still going to be the pass-catching threat that he was, I think, but help him in other areas. Nolan being healthy and available is a positive. Micah coming in. We've got 3 or 4 other guys that we'll see, some young guys. So hopefully our depth's better. That's an important position for us, to the way we like to play fast and multiple. And you can only do that if you have tight ends that can do it. And so hoping that guys like RJ take the next step, hoping Nolan can have the best year he's ever had, hoping Micah adds something to that table, and so on and so forth. And we got a couple freshmen that may help. So feel better than I did going into last year, for sure.
We haven't talked since Jordan signed.
Okay.
Or at least I haven't.
Yeah, got it.
What are you expecting from Jordan Hudson, obviously?
Man, I just want him to come in and fit in and be a part of the team and conform to the culture we have, which he's done so far. And I think his ability, his toughness, his edge will take care of itself. He's got a learning curve of the system, and our coaches too, and some of the other guys are returners. But I think the overall depth at wideout hopefully allows us to play a lot of guys. And I think it'll play its way out. But I think not only this season, but for the next couple of years, I think he's got a high upside. Obviously, everybody believes that. I think the hype coming out of high school is real. It'll be good to see how he goes through fall camp, how he connects with Preston and the other guys. But he'll help us this year, there's no question.
Last one for me, but Jordan Curley and Jake Bailey, what are your expectations for them? And especially since Jake was kind of rolling before that injury too.
Hopefully those guys, and then even junior Roderick Daniels will carry some leadership in that room. I think that'll be good. Curley, if he can stay healthy, I think everyone's always seen what he can do. So it'd be awesome to see him have a full season healthy, and what does that look like? Jake Bailey, in the limited action, we saw what he can do in the slot. Junior, he's a poor man's Debo Samuel, for lack of a better word. So I think those guys have a chance to really lead that room. I'm excited to see Moochie Dixon and what he does in year 2. And then you got the 3 or 4 new guys that we've talked about in the transfer world. So there's good depth, but hopefully Jordan and Jake will really lead that unit.
My last question. That secondary, a lot of experience. I guess just this offseason, how much confidence have you had in that group? And I guess maybe lack of questions? I don't know.
It's been great, right?
Yeah.
I think their experience has given me a lot of confidence, and our team. I think, a guy like Jonathan McGill and that leadership has been impactful. But I'm telling you, the guys we brought in at corner and safety, the transfers, have elevated the level of a Brian Massey and a Brandon Crossley and an A.J. Davis and a Jahari Rogers. Those guys are good football players. Isaiah Nokobia. So you couple those guys with the ones we brought in, and makes me at least feel like going into the season, our secondary is in a different position than we've been in a long time in terms of quality and depth.
Real quick, as far as your depth chart, do you have a point in fall that you would like to kind of have it set? And then how much do you kind of like that to be it, or how much fluctuation do you want or not want in the season?
At every position, the sooner you know, the better. But game one is really the deadline, and really even then there may be some positions that you go into game one going, we're going to play both these guys and let it play out. So like it may be different for the O-line than it is for the secondary than it is for wide out. We kind of know where quarterback is, So, look, 2.5 weeks in, and school starts, you kind of do know how you're going to start the first game. And, as much as you can have settled, you'd like to know. But I think with the depth and competition we have, we're going to go in the first 2, 3, 4 games of the season and see how some positions play out probably.